All right. So thanks for being here today. And we're going to do our peak pose today is working with gate pose, which is a big side body opener. And I really like to work with side body stretches because it's so important to the movement of breath. And the movement of breath is so important for our nervous system to like stay in check. So we have those two primary parts of the nervous system, which are the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And so sympathetic is the stress response and parasympathetic is the relaxation response. And it's really tied into what's happening to like in the movement of your breath. And so if your breath is shallow, or if your stress response is activated, your breath will become shallow. If your breath is shallow, it can continue to exacerbate that stress response. So I did want to just read in. I've been really loving Dana Fald's readings, and for some reason, oh, here it is. Okay, I wanted to make sure I could see the whole thing. So this one is called Breath of Life. I breathe in all that is, awareness expanding to take everything in, as if my heart beats the world into being. From the unnamed vastness beneath the mind, I breathe my way to wholeness and healing. Inhalation, exhalation. Each breath a yes and a letting go, a journey and a coming home. So, since our peak pose for today is so much about emphasizing the movement of breath, I wanted to share that short reading with you guys. We could keep that in mind as we're going through our practice today. So we're going to begin recline. So you can come to your mat. You can come down to the floor. It'd be helpful if you have a blanket for your head, but if you don't have one, don't worry about it. If you were in the last class, this class is going to be very different than the one before, but we are going to start off with a few similar movements. Okay. So we'll place the blanket underneath of the head and come on down to your back. I always find it helpful just before getting settled in, just to move a little bit. And that could really look like anything. You know, you might hug one thigh into your body and just give a gentle hug. When you're ready, you could possibly switch that out, a full body stretch or windshield wipers. I find that just a little bit of movement is really helpful so that when you go into the stillness, the body's not holding as much like achiness in it or tension, right? So just take maybe just another 20, 30 seconds. And then as you're ready, you can let your knees point up to the ceiling with your feet apart, or if you like, you can let your knees and your thighs fall together. And your arms can either be stand open to the sides, or you can place your hands onto your body. And just coming into some awareness of the feeling of your breath moving through your body in this moment. The awareness of breath is the foundation for all breath techniques or pranayama practices. And so it's always a good idea at the beginning of any practice just to let your breath be at its natural rhythm, but just to create some awareness of what it feels like to breathe. On these next few rounds of breath, let your breath start to deepen a bit. Just going to elongate out the inhale as well as the exhale. All right, take your last inhale, draw the breath into the body through the nose. And as you're exhaling, we're going to breathe out through the mouth with a soft sigh. We're going to shift the hips a little over to the right. And as that's happening, our knees are going to swing over to the left, and we're going to come to lay on the left side of the body. Now, if your blanket's there, you might not need any extra support for your neck. Sometimes I need to fold the blanket up another time just to create like a long line from the spine to the head. And if you don't have a blanket that you're working with, you're going to want to cradle your left arm underneath of your head so that you create like a pillow with your left arm. Now, if you have the blanket support, both of your arms are going to go out in front of you. If you're cradling your head with your left arm, it's only the right arm that's going to extend out in front of your chest. So we're going to take a breath in, and the top right arm and hand will slide forward of your left fingertips. And then you're going to breathe in and let that top right arm lift up and let it fall back behind you, turning your chest open to the sky, opening through the pectoralis muscles on the right side. And then as you exhale, bring your hands together to connect. And then inhale, slide the right hand forward, lift your right arm up. Let it move back. So you open up the pectoralis muscles, right side, spin your heart toward the ceiling. And then as you're exhaling, let your right hand come back together to connect to your left. Inhale, slide your right hand forward. Let your right arm lift up and let it come back behind you, spinning open through your chest. And then as you exhale, let your hand come back down to meet your left hand or to come to the floor. Inhale, slide the right hand forward, lift the right arm up, spinning the chest open. Exhale as you allow your hands to come together. And then this last one, we're going to twist and then we'll hold for a few moments. So slide your right hand forward. Let your right arm fall back behind you. And then so the arm may be hovering in space. So sometimes when the arm is hovering in space, it may feel better to place your right hand on your right ribs and then just let the arm fall open from there with the hand somewhere connected to the body. And if the arm is down on the floor, that's fine too. And if the arm is suspended in space, as long as it doesn't feel bothersome to the shoulder, that's fine. I know when my arm is suspended in space, it feels a little bit bothersome, almost like it creates tension. So hand to the body or arm open, and then just take a breath in, draw the breath into the body through the nose. And then as you're exhaling, slow, deep breath out through your mouth. Okay, and then let your right arm lift back up. Let your right hand come to meet your left or to connect to the floor. And then we're going to roll the body through the center on the spine and shift the hips through the middle and then over to the left. And then allow your knees to come over to the right. And so left arm is extended and the right arm is either cradling the head or also extended so that your palms connect. And then inhale as you slide your top left hand forward of your right, and then let the arm lift up and spin your chest open. And then as you're exhaling, allow your hands to come back together to connect. And we'll do that a few more times. Inhale, left hand slides forward. That's going to give you opening around your left shoulder blade. Float your arm up and allow your arm to release back. And then allow your hands to come together. And 3 more times. Inhale, slide forward. Lift your arm up and back. Exhale to allow your left hand to come back together to meet your right. And then inhale, slide the hand forward. Let the arm float up and lift back. Exhale as your hands come back together. Now on this last one will be the twist and the hold. So slide the left hand forward, allow your left arm to lift up. Let your left arm spin back behind you. And so again, if your arm is hovering in space, you want to check in and see how that feels for you. And so if it's down on the floor, you're probably pretty happy there. And then with the hover, you might see what it's like to place the hand on the body somewhere. And so you'll still get that rotation and mild stretch in the left front chest, but it won't be as intense on the shoulder and on the as intense in the stretch for the chest. Breathing in. This next breath out, you're going to exhale and breathe out through your mouth. Okay, and then we're going to take that extended left arm and let it move back up to the ceiling and allow the hands to come back together to connect. Okay, and now we're going to move back onto the spine. So move your hips to the center. So you're going to want to move the blanket, set it out to the side somewhere. Bring your arms down by your hips. Turn your palms so that they're facing down toward the floor. And then you're going to move your shoulders. So one shoulder blade up while the other shoulder blade goes down. So I call this the shoulder scrub. And then just keep moving, drawing one shoulder blade up as the other shoulder blade goes down. And then rocking right to left. Your head is going to likely wobble just a little bit from side to side, and that's all fine. Just moving through that contract and release, letting go of some of the tension and holding in the shoulders. Breathe in through your nose. Take a last breath out through your mouth. All right, and then let your elbows bend so your forearms face one another and your palms face one another, fingers spread, heels lining up with the bones of the buttocks or maybe an inch or two wider than that. And then press into the backs of your arms and inhale, float your hips into bridge pose. Now, it might be a small bridge pose. If your back tends to have more flexibility, you can go a little bit higher, just to get a little frontal body opening, right? Exhale, allow your hips to come back down to the floor. And as you're inhaling, the points of contact feel anchored while you gracefully rise your hips up into the air. And then as you exhale, let your hips come back down. And then inhale as you rise. Exhale as you lower. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale as you rise. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, let's rise and hold. So let the hips lift up. Now, if it's bothersome on your back to hold, maybe you'll pulse in and out instead, right? And if you found that maybe even pulsing in and out feels like it's too much right now, you can lower your hips and do some windshield wipers instead of the hold or the pulsing, right? So just meeting the back body where the back body happens to be today, working with any things that you have going on in your body. So you're really just stepping into that mode of meeting yourself where you currently are at. Take a breath in. Okay, and now as you're exhaling, we're gonna lower the hips down, open the arms wide. We'll all take a few sways, windshield wipering the knees from side to side. All right, we're coming to tabletop. So you can roll forward and back on your spine or roll to one side and then just give a gentle press up. Now we are going to transition into hands and knees. So if you want some support for your tabletop pose, go ahead and set your blanket out so you can bring your knees onto the blanket and then place your hands out. And we're going to do some cat-cowing here. So you're going to breathe in and allow the belly to release down toward the floor, lifting up through the center, chest and chin. And then as you're exhaling, you're going to draw your belly in and round through the back. And then just begin to let your body flow through those two poses, inhaling to let the belly release and lift up through the heart. And then exhaling, pressing into your hands and rounding through the back. Inhaling to release. Exhaling to round. Now we're going to keep going with some cat-cow, but we're going to add in a child's pose to that flow. So you're going to inhale and let your belly release toward the floor. And then as you're exhaling, you're going to round through your spine and then move your hips toward your heels. Now it might be only partially back. It might be moving a little deeper. I actually like to press the balls of the feet into the floor when I do this, just to give a little stretch to the soles of the feet. Inhale, ride the wave of the breath back up. Let your belly release down as you lift up through the center of your heart. And as you're exhaling, draw your belly in. Maybe press the balls of the feet into the mat as you shift the hips back, bringing the body forward toward the thighs. And then let's do that one more time. Inhale as you rise up. Release through the belly, lift through the heart, and exhale as you give a little round. Now, when we come into child's pose this next time, we're actually going to stay for a little longer. So you might untuck your toes if they are tucked. And gate is a big side body opener. So let's walk the hands to the right and let's kind of nudge the hips a little bit out to the left, just to stretch open through that left side body. So you feel that openness through the left low back, through the spaces between the ribs, up through the underarm area. Okay, take a breath in and a last breath out. And then after that exhale, you'll let your body come through the center, and then we'll walk the hands over to the left. And press the hips out to the right. Deep inhale and last exhale. And we're going to come back through the center now. Pause in the middle for just a minute just to stretch the spine out. And then we're going to be rising up through hands and knees, and we're going to transition into down dog. So come up. And if you're not taking down dog, you can actually transition your body to forward fold, because we're all going to be coming there in a moment. So just lift up through your knees, let your hips go nice and high. Just take a round of breath or 2 rounds of breath in the down dog. Just kind of sway out through your hips, or take a little pedal of your knees. And we're all going to be coming in to the forward fold. So you can take your gaze forward. You can step over your blanket if it's still there, placing your feet underneath of your hips. Let your knees bend a little bit, and then take the breath in. Let your arms make a big sweep, circling your arms all the way up. And as you exhale, you're going to join your prayer hands together and slide your prayer hands down into your heart. Now, here with the hands at the heart, we're going to interlace the hands and turn the palms so that they're facing out in front of you. And we're just going to do a few pumps with the elbows just to warm the shoulders up. Now, if you have something going on with your shoulder and you prefer to stay here and just kind of hang here for a few breaths without the pumping motion, you can stay right here. Otherwise, you're going to inhale, just let your elbows bend, and then as you exhale, you're going to press back out through your palms. You're gonna inhale, let your elbows bend so your knuckles are coming toward your chest, and exhale, just reach out through your palms. And then inhale as you let your elbows bend. And just press out through your palms. We'll just do that 2 more times. Inhale, let your elbows bend. Exhale, press through your palms. And then 1 more time, inhale, let your elbows bend, knuckles coming in toward the chest. Exhale, press out through your palms. And then you're gonna let your hands begin to release the interlace so that your arms can come down by your sides. Breathing in, stretch your arms up by your ears. As you exhale, take your right hand to your right thigh, and you wanna side tilt over to the right, opening up through that left side of the body. And then as you're inhaling, you're coming back up through the center. Fingertips are reaching up, and then as you're exhaling, your left hand is coming to your thigh, and your side stretching over to the left. And as you inhale, let your arms come up through the center, reach your fingertips up to the sky, and as you exhale, let your knees bend and bring your body forward over your legs. Now I'm going to have you inhale, bend your knees so that your legs are resembling more like a chair position, and the crown of the head is reaching straight out in front of you. Now you can stay right here with your hands on the floor, even have a little extra height with your hands on blocks, or take a breath in and let your arms lift out to the sides, straight out to the side like big wings. And then as you exhale, bring your hands down and move your hips up so you fold back into your legs. Now you're going to inhale, you're going to bend your knees, reverse your swan dive, sweep your arms all the way up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, bring your prayer hands together and then let your prayer hands slide down into your heart. We're going to do those shoulder pumps again. So you're going to interlace your hands, press your palms forward out in front of you. And as you breathe in, let your elbows bend, knuckles come toward the chest, and then exhale, press your palms forward. Inhale, let your elbows bend, bring your knuckles in toward your chest, and exhale as you press your palms forward. 3 more times. Inhale and exhale. So I like this because the arms are like suspended in space, and that holding of the arms up is really good for building bone strength. Inhale to bend the elbows. Exhale to press the palms forward. 1 more time. Inhale to bend the elbows. Exhale to press the palms forward. So you're going to start to slide your fingers away from one another and bring your arms down by your side. Take a breath in, sweep your arms up by your ears. As you exhale, let your right hand come to your right thigh and side tilt over to the right. As you inhale, come up through the center, stretch up through your fingertips, and as you exhale, bring your left hand to your left thigh, side tilt over. As you're inhaling, come up through the center, fingertips are going to reach up to the ceiling, let your side bodies get nice and long, and exhale as you bend at your knees and fold your body forward over your legs. So this time, same thing. Inhale, bend your knees nice and deep so your torso is almost running parallel to the floor. Breathe in, maybe sweep your arms out. Exhale, our hands are coming down and the hips are lifting up. Inhale as you lift the spine, just take a halfway lift, a regular halfway lift. And as you exhale, fold into your legs. We're going to do that halfway lift 1 more time. Inhale, lift your spine halfway. And as you exhale, you're going to take your left foot and you're going to step it back over the blanket if the blanket is there. We're spinning that back left heel down because we're going to come up for warrior 2. So you're going to inhale and cartwheel your arms around so that you turn to face the left long side of the mat. Now I'm going to do a little bit of pulsing here also. So this will be a little different though than those pumps. So we're going to inhale, pulse the arms up by the ears and straighten the right knee. So just let the sides of your body get really long. And then as you exhale, warrior 2, bend the right knee and bring the arms down to parallel the floor. Okay, and then do that again. Inhale, reach your arms up, straighten your front knee. And exhale, bend your right knee as your arms come down. Okay, and then 1 more time. Inhale, straighten the knee, reach the arms up. And exhale as you bend. Okay, now I'll work with the side bodies again. So we're going to flip up the right palm. And as you exhale, land your left hand on your left thigh and arc your body back into reverse warrior. Now this is stretching open through the inner legs and stretching open through this outer right, this right side body here. If it's real intense, In the legs, you can always straighten your right knee. Otherwise, hold with the right knee bent. Take one more inhale, one more exhale. All right, now as you breathe in, come up, pass through warrior two. And then as you exhale, bring your hands down because you're going to frame your front right foot. Okay, and then let your back heel spin off of the floor and lower your left knee down to the floor for a moment. Low lunge. Slide your hands up onto your front right thigh. Now, I find that for this, it is pretty helpful to have a blanket underneath of the knee. We're just going to kind of pulse in and out of this low lunge. We're doing a lot of pulsing today. So when you inhale, you're going to move your hips a few inches back. So it's almost like you're coming out of the low lunge. And then as you exhale, you're going to let your hips move forward. And so as that happens, you're going to feel a stronger stretch through the front left hip. You're going to inhale back the hips up a few inches. And then as you're breathing out, you're going to allow your hips to start to move forward, increasing the opening across the left hip. Good. And then one more time, inhale, move the hips back a little bit. And then as you're exhaling, let your hips sink a little bit forward, and then let your hands come down. Just frame your front foot and float up your back knee. So you're going to bend your back knee so that you can push off the foot and step forward. Okay. And then as you're there, your hands can be on the blocks, the shins, or the floor, but you're going to inhale, lift your spine halfway, reach out through your head. And then as you exhale, fold into the legs. Inhale as you let your knees bend and sweep your arms around. Exhale as you join your prayer hands over your head and just simply slide your prayer hands into your heart. You're going to breathe in, let your arms make a big sweep up along the sides of your face. And as you exhale, let your knees bend and hinge your body forward, coming over your legs. So on this first one, bend your knees, let your hips start to drop low, bring your spine so it's about parallel to the floor, and inhale, bring your arms out to the sides. Exhale as you come into forward fold, so the hands will come down and the hips will start to lengthen upward. Inhale, half lift, so ground into the blocks, your shins or the floor, reach out through your head. Exhale as you fold into your legs. One more half lift, so inhale, begin to lift out through your spine halfway. And now as you're exhaling, we're going to step the right foot way back over the blanket and then allow the right heel to land on the floor, warrior two legs. And then as you're inhaling, let your arms cartwheel around so you turn to face the right long side of the mat. And now as you're breathing in, you're going to bring both your arms by your ears as you straighten your front knee. And then as you exhale, you're going to allow your left knee to rebend as your arms come back down. And then as you inhale, allow your front knee to straighten. Reach your fingertips up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, allow your left knee to bend and bring your arms back to parallel the floor. And then one more time. Inhale as you're reaching up. Exhale as the left knee is bending and the arms are coming to parallel the floor. Now we're going to flip up the left palm, reversing the warrior. So the right hand is going to come to the right thigh, and you're going to side stretch your body back so that you open up through the left side body. So I like to a lot of times just look down, maybe at my right ankle, or maybe I might look to the side, but I do find that it increases the tension that I feel in my neck when I look up. So just choose a place that feels really good for the neck. And with your left knee, remember, if it's feeling real intense in that left thigh area, and if you want to take a moment to straighten the knee, you can feel free to do so. Take another inhale and a last exhale. And now as you're breathing in, you'll let your body come up through warrior two. And then as you're exhaling, your arms are going to cartwheel because you're going to frame your front foot and spin off your right heel. And then your right knee will lower to the floor, low lunge. Then you're going to take your hands and slide them up to your front left thigh, because we'll just do that little movement back and forth. So as you breathe in, let your hips move back a little bit. So you're just decreasing the stretch across the front of your right hip. And then as you're exhaling, you're going to let your hips start to move back forward again. Draw the navel in, and that'll help to draw the tailbone down, creating a little more space in the low back. Inhale as you move slightly back with your hips. Exhale as you move your hips forward. Okay, and then one more time. Inhale. Let your hips move back. And then exhale to allow your hips to move slightly forward, and then you'll allow your hands to come down. Let your hands frame your front foot, press into the right ball of the foot, lift your knee, bend your right knee, press off the foot, and step forward. So you're going to take halfway lifts. You're going to inhale and lift through your spine halfway. And then take the exhale to allow the knees to bend and fold into the legs. Release and relax through your head. And inhale, allow your knees to bend and sweep your arms up by your ears. We're going to complete that whole sequence with a few more pumps, but this time we're going to do those elbow pumps with the arms above the head. So you're going to interlace your hands. Flip your palms to face up to the ceiling. So an alternative for this, by the way, is doing some cactus arms. So if this position of the hands doesn't work well, just take a couple cycles of cactus arms. You're going to breathe in, let your elbows bend, your knuckles will come to touch your head, and then exhale as you pulse your palms back up. Inhale. Inhale. Last two, inhale. Last one. Let your hands begin to release. Let your arms have that float out to the sides. Right, and then just doing that shoulder scrub motion standing, right? So one shoulder blade up while the other shoulder blade releases down. There's going to be a little bit of rocking across your feet and that same sort of wobble in your head. Okay, and then let that come to stillness. So we are going to turn out to face the left long side of the mat for wide stance and ninja. So if you feel like you might want some blocks for under your hands, and you can even just step right over the blanket. We'll use that again for gait. So as long as you don't feel like it's in your way, just leave it there. Just take your feet nice and wide. If you think you might want to use your blocks, just set them down there in front of you, and just allow your hands to come to the crest of your hips, and just take a breath in and let your elbow points start to point back, and allow the chest and the chin to lift up. And as you're exhaling, we're going to begin to come forward. So you'll feel some weight start shifting more into the balls of the feet, a little bit of lightness in the heels as you start coming down. And then you're going to eventually find your hands on the blocks or on the floor. And then you're going to inhale and lift out through your spine halfway. And we'll just take an exhale and let the elbows bend. Okay, so one option I've been really liking is to actually use the blocks for some forearm support, so that I actually have something to rest my forearms on. So that's an option, right? Or just hands to the floor. So I do like to have a little bit of a bend in my knees, just to reduce that intense stretch across the backs of my knees. You might also have a little bend or even deeper bend, right? If the hamstring muscles feel a little restricted, sometimes a deeper bend is slightly better. All right. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Taking another moment here, just coming back to that reading from the beginning. Each breath is a yes and a letting go, a journey and a coming home. Okay, and then we're gonna turn the heels in a bit and the toes out a bit as we bring the body up just a little bit. And so we're gonna do some ninja. And so if you wanna have the hands on the blocks, you can, or the hands might be on the floor, and you just let your hips rock a few times from right to left. So the hips might be a little higher up, right? And if there's more flexibility in the inner legs, then you might have your hips a little lower to the floor. You might have some concentration on the fluidity of your breath, and also that feeling of fluidity in the body. So fluidity is a quality associated with the element of water. The element of water has an association with dynamic movement, right? Like going with the flow, right? We might say, right? Being able to accept and embrace change. We're all getting to work with that right now. Okay. Now, the next time that your right knee is bent, we're going to hang there for just a moment. And we're going to, if you have your hands on the blocks, this can also be done with the hands on the floor, but we're just going to stretch out through the arms, like stretch them to the opposite direction, right? So right knee is bent, so the arms will stretch to the left. Okay, and then bring your hands back through the center as that exhale fully completes, and then rock over to your left leg, and then stretch out to your right, and then lean the hands to the right. So whatever knee is bent, right? You're just stretching out through that, stretching your arms to the opposite side. Okay, last exhale. And then as you're breathing in, let your body start to come back through the center. So let your 10 toes turn so that they're facing straight forward, and reach out long through the crown of your head. So wide stance, feet with a halfway lift. I'm going to invite you to stay in this halfway lift for a few rounds of breath, because those last two poses bring a stretch to the low back. And so it's important to counterbalance all that stretching. So this will bring just a little bit of gentle activation to the back muscles. So chin is slightly in, reach out long through the crown of your head. Feel the belly button on the front of the body kind of scoop in a little bit toward the spine. Okay, and then begin to bend your knees a little bit. Keep the belly button drawing in, but you'll slide your hands up to your hips, draw your elbow points toward one another, and you'll rise up to your shoulders, come over your hips. You're going to turn your right toes so that they're facing the front short side of your mat, and then push off that left foot so that you can come to face the front of the mat. Stretch your arms down by your sides. Take a breath in, let your arms reach up by your ears. Take a breath out, let your knees bend, and hinge your body forward over your legs. Take an inhale and lift your spine into halfway lift. And as you exhale, we're gonna transition to down dog and then to table. So if you're not taking down dog, I'll invite you to come directly into table and take a couple cat-cows. Now, if you're in down dog, I just sometimes feel like that's a nice neutralizing pose for the body. So just maybe take a round or two of breath there. And then in your down dog, no rush to exit, but when you feel ready, you can lower your knees, and then we'll join the folks doing the cat cows. We'll all take a couple cat cows. Inhale, let your belly release, lift up through your heart. Exhale, draw your belly in and round through your back body. Inhale, release through the belly, lift through the heart. Exhale, press into your hands and round through your back body. Inhale, come to neutral, and then walk your hands in. So you're gonna come up, just stand on your knees. And so you may want to turn your body to face the long side of your mat. So I'm going to opt for that so that I can face out toward you, but then all like your hands and your knees and heels, everything will stay on the yoga mat. Okay, so I'm going to invite you also to work with a block for one variation of this. So if you have a block, if you don't have a block, it's no problem. Don't worry about it at all. But if you have a block, I'm going to mirror for this so that way if you're looking at me, it makes a little more sense. To the left. Bring it to the outside of your left leg so that you'll have a place for your left hand to come onto in a moment. Okay, so we're going to ground into the left knee and we're going to send the right leg out, kind of kickstanding it out. So we're going to actually start with the gate side plank variation of this pose before we come into the actual Parigasana gate. So you're going to take a breath in and reach out through your arms. And as you exhale, you're going to take your left hand and tip it down and see if you can find the block. Now your hand can come to the floor, by the way, but I just find this just gives a little bit more openness through the side of the body to use the block. And you can just leave your top right hand on your hip for a moment, press down into the bottom left hand. Now this hand can stay on the hip, or I'm going to invite maybe the possibility of bringing your right hand actually behind your head. And then feeling the back of your head, just press a little bit into your hand. And so you might notice, like when you start pressing the back of the head into the hand, what I notice is the stretch across right on top of that right hip crest gets a little bit stronger. Deep inhale. And deep exhale. Okay, so inhale here, and as you're exhaling, you can slide your right hand to your hip, draw your belly button into your spine, and use that to help you rise back up. Okay, now for gate pose, I like to turn my right heel to the floor and turn the right toes to the ceiling. Now you can keep the foot down if that works for your body. Otherwise, turn the heel down and toes up. Right hand is going to come to rest on your right thigh, and you're going to breathe in. Send your left arm up by your ear. And then we're going to start to slide the right hand down the leg. You want to be mindful not to press into the knee joint. So where that hand lands is either above or below the knee. And I also want you to feel a little bit of pressure of your hand may be down, but to help with that, press your leg back into your hand. And that's actually more prominent than the rooting of the hand into the leg. The hand is a little bit light and the leg is activating back into the hand. Take a breath in and a breath out. Okay, inhale. Now as you're exhaling, draw the belly in. You can even start to soften your left arm. That'll make it easier to rise up if you just kind of soften through the elbow. Let the arm come down. Let your right knee come down. All right, so press the palms forward so the heels of your hands are going to go forward. Round through your back so your shoulder blades are going to draw apart. Take a breath in. As you exhale, pull your elbows into the sides of your body. Flip your palms and lift your chest. And then do that again. Inhale. Press your heels of your hands forward. Round through your back. And then exhale, draw your elbows in and lift through your heart. Okay. Let your arms come down. We're going to move the block out to the right. If you're using a block, set it up to the side. And then you're going to ground into your right knee, and you're going to, as gracefully as you can, send your left leg. I know that transition can feel a little tricky sometimes, right? So right hip over the knee, extended through the left legs for the gate modified side plank variation. So you're going to reach out through your arms, take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, you're going to start to bring your right hand down. I sent my block too far, so we got to bring the block in a little bit. Left hand can come to the hip for a moment. And so this bottom shoulder, this is a great pose to work with actually for more challenging variations of side plank pose, because the shoulder head can sometimes pop forward. And so if we're bearing all of our weight in a full side plank, that can be really detrimental to the rotator cuff muscle. So you want to keep the shoulder, it's like right in the middle, not popping forward, not squeezing back, but right there in the center. And then if you like, you could bring your left hand to the back of the head and then just feel the back of the head connect to the palm. Okay. Take a last breath in, and as you're exhaling, you can let your left hand slide to your hip, draw your belly button into your spine, and let your body rise up. You can turn your left heel to the floor and left toes to the ceiling. Slide your left hand to your left thigh while your right arm reaches up, and then you can start to slide your left hand down the leg. So you just want to focus on landing somewhere other than the kneecap. And then you're going to feel your leg press back into your left hand as you arc the body over, stretching through your right side body and arm. Now feel free, hand to top of shoulder, hand to hip. So we always have to modify these poses to meet our body where our body is at. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. We're going to take one more breath in, and then when you're exhaling, you can start to soften your right elbow, draw your belly button in, and then let that guide you back up. And then you want to, as gracefully as you can, place your left knee back to the floor, and then inhale, press the heels of your hands forward, round through your back a little bit, and then as you're exhaling, breathing out through your mouth, as your elbows draw into the sides of the body, and you're going to lift up through your chest. And then last time, inhale, press out through the heels of your hands, draw your shoulder blades apart. Exhale as you draw your elbows in, lift through your heart. Okay, all right, so we just want to take that block, just move it off to the side of the mat so it's out of your way, and then you can just start to turn your body back to all fours, tabletop. All right, so as the hands come down, we're just going to do a little bit of circling here with the hips before we start transitioning down to the spine. So just looping the hips around in a big circle, going one direction. Just feeling the movement of the breath. I love that last little section of that reading. Each breath is a yes and a letting go, a journey and a coming home. Right? And reverse and go the other way. Right, and you're coming back to the center, you can bring your hands in a little closer, swing your legs out to the right or left, shift your hips up to the side. You can move your blanket off to the side. If you have a strap and think you might want to use it, bring it with you as we come down. We're just going to bring the body all the way down onto the spine. Let your feet lift away from the floor so you can hug your thighs into your ribs. And just take a little bit of movement here, rocking a little bit side to side. Okay, we're going to thread the needle. So plant your left foot down and cross your right ankle over. So the block is probably within hand's reach. Sometimes I like to take a block in my right hand and just kind of press into the block and then feel the thigh hug back in toward the block. It just creates a little stabilization. So you could even stay here just working with that, or otherwise the block can actually come down to the side and you might lift up your left foot and thread your hands through so that you can catch hold of the back of the left thigh. And so here's where a strap could come in handy. If it's not an easy catch to the back of the left thigh, you can loop your strap along the back of the left thigh and hold onto the strap. Now, if you have the back of the left thigh with your hands or the strap, and you want to send your left leg up toward the sky, that will give you an opportunity also to get a bit of a hamstring stretch as well. And so if you can remember what it felt like when you pressed the block into the thigh, if you did that, that's really helpful because that's the feeling you want to create in your right thigh right now, almost as though you were gently pressing the block into your right thigh, and at the same time there's this gentle hug back of the thigh into the imaginary block. So it's just a stabilization technique, right? Stabilize to stabilize and then create the elongation from that place of stabilization. All right, last breath in and last breath out. All right, now we can come back through the center, bend the left knee, release the hands, release the left foot, as well as the right. Widen your knees and take a few rocks with your legs from side to side. All right, so let's cross the left ankle over the right thigh. So again, you could take your left hand to your left thigh, or sometimes I just like the block because it's a little bit, doesn't cause me to have to reach quite as far with my left arm. So just feel the block, gently press into the leg as the leg hugs back in toward the block. You might notice there's activation in the outer left hip as a result of that pressure, and then you can release the block as you're ready. You can always stay there, otherwise you're picking up the right foot, looping the hands around the back of the right thigh. Remember, you can always use your strap for the back of the right thigh, and if you want to send your right leg up, you can reach your right leg up to the sky. And you can start to allow your right leg to rebend and your right foot to come down, and your left ankle will uncross, and just take your knees and let them sway from side to side. All right, and you can pick up your feet one at a time for happy baby. So the knees can draw in, knees to chest, move the knees a little bit apart, stack the ankles over the knees and reach up for your feet. So this is another place that the strap can come in handy, right? Because if we can't easily reach the feet, in order to do that, we might find we're getting a lot of rounding in our back. So you can loop the strap across the balls of the feet and just hang on to the yoga strap instead. All right, take a breath in and a last breath out. And then if you're using the strap, you can unhook and we'll give the legs one more hug in toward the ribs. And we're gonna go into a full body stretch. So take your right leg and your left leg out long, stretch your arms up by your ears, nice and long through all your limbs. And one more breath in. And when you're ready, you're gonna use an exhale to begin to bring your arms down by your side, let your toes fall open. We're going to be coming into our final Shavasana, our final rest. But if you want to take a moment, you can always get yourself a little more supported here. So a blanket underneath of your knees or your head. If you feel cool, a blanket over your body. So we did lots of work today with some of the breathing accessory muscles. So hopefully you can breathe a little deeper in this moment, allowing your deeper inhale and exhale to connect you into a place of deep calmness as well as a sense of ease. Allowing your body to remain still, but coming back into feeling the fullness of your breath. Each inhale, a yes. Each exhale is the letting go. The inhales, the journey. The exhale, the coming home. As you're ready, allow your knees to bend one at a time. Place your feet flat to the floor. Take a moment before you roll to your side just to feel the earth beneath your body. Rolling over to the right or left. Press your hands down and begin to rise upward to your seat. Hands coming together at your heart. The light within me sees and bows to that same light that exists within you. Namaste.